Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of the Motiv8tion Project Podcast. I am your host, Andrew Sangster. Today, I am here with my co-host, Charlie.
Hey there.
That was wonderful, very insightful.
Not a person.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's a nice bit of introduction. Oh, tell me about yourself.
I'm a media student, as you know. Don't do a lot over the past year, but I like motivation. I like happiness.
So, welcome to the first episode. The Motiv8tion Project. It's a collaborative piece that we are all working on, and Charlie and myself, we are creating a series of podcasts talking about the main premise of motivation and happiness. And on today's introductory episode, we have our good friend Beth Salt. Beth, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I am Beth Salt, as Andrew introduced. I'm the media course rep for York St John University.
Beth, how have you found the last year?
Definitely, it's obviously been hard. Anyone that says it's been the best time of their life is probably kidding themselves, let's be honest. It's been very difficult for everyone. I think it's been kind of in waves, to be honest. Definitely being back in the city has helped getting more motivated and back into like different hobbies and encouraged to start new projects and things compared to sitting at home, because I kind of live in the middle of nowhere, so it's lovely and refreshing to begin with, but that quickly goes away. But yeah, I think it's been, I'll say okay as a general. We'll keep it as a nice level okay sort of feeling.
I mean, that's the better feeling, you know.
I think it's that thing as well, as obviously when the first lockdown happened back in March last year. I think it was very much a thing of, since we were locked away immediately for it was a solid at least 3 months, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
It was that moment of, I think, when people did start being able to meet up with each other again, there was spikes of happiness. So it's when I think the moments where we could experience great joy with other people, it did feel better, because you hadn't seen people in a while, so you were able to go out and start doing stuff again. I distinctly remember that first time back at the pub. I think that was in it was August or September. I think it was August. It was a while.
Oh, it was so long. But then at the same time, it was almost that it was nice to go out and meet people once you had, but it was the original. You went into lockdown and suddenly video chats were buzzing again. Because I know that some people use video chats quite regularly before all of this, but I mean, I personally didn't use video chats very much. It was just a general phone call. So sitting there playing Cards Against Humanity in a video call was pretty much top tier by that point.
I agree. Yeah, it is coming back to stuff like Skype. That was huge back in 2010 to 2014.
Mm-hmm.
And then it slowly started to die off. And then ever since obviously around the start of lockdown, you got the spike of stuff Skype came back. You have Zoom, obviously Microsoft Teams for uni work. There's this resurgence of video sharing platforms. I think it's that face-to-face contact.
It probably built it up and kind of saved that side of the industry, really, because it was very much, like you said, Skype was non-existent. I mean, to be fair, who uses Skype anymore now anyway?
To be fair, yeah.
But it did kind of save the video chat side of things, instead of just Messenger and Discord and that sort of thing.
I suppose there is that it's that whole human connection, wasn't it? It's just I think social media and the especially during lockdown, it became such a huge thing. Obviously people already use your Twitter and your Snapchat, your Instagram to communicate, but it kind of became a way of life during lockdown. It's you couldn't communicate with other people without it. It became a necessity almost.
Yeah, TikTok blowing up, and
TikTok.
For so long, you would sit there denying, not letting yourself download it. You'd be like, no, it's for kids. I'm not going to do it. And then it got to about maybe a couple weeks in, month or so. Yeah, you downloaded it, and that was pretty much where the ball went down.
It's such a guilty pleasure. And like I know TikTok started to like become a thing like when we started uni. I think it was like a couple of months before. So like as our uni's gone on, you've seen it like evolve over time. Like there's been like stages to it, and like now it's just this huge thing that's just ballooned.
It's gone absolutely. Yeah, there's no words to describe how crazy it picked up, and it was. I think that was probably one of the biggest sources of entertainment for the younger generation through through lockdowns and stuff. Especially, well, even now it's still so popular, and it doesn't show a sign of like dropping anytime soon. I haven't heard anyone that's kind of not using it much anymore, but
No, from what I've heard, it's doing better than ever from what I've seen. Like, yeah, it's like people like it is something that just anyone can get on and just create something, and it takes a couple of minutes, and it's out there, and without even like trying, hundreds of people can see it at least.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know I put on a TikTok for a couple of my friends as a joke, like just to like, hey, look at this, like, yeah, it's a funny inside joke, and I didn't check on it, and I came back like a week later, and it had like 450 views. I didn't put any like hashtags or anything on it.
Mm-hmm.
It just people just found it, and it's just that thing of eventually just it will just show up in people's feeds. It's not like Facebook where stuff only comes up when people share stuff. It's you have that constant feed of content.
Yeah, it's just never ending really. And I think that it's also evolved the attention span of the generations that are using it. Because I don't know about you guys, but I can feel my attention span getting shorter because you'll sit there and you have like Instagram videos and Snapchat videos and stuff, but on TikTok, because you can't skip forward or go back in a video or something, you just have to wait for it to play and then come all the way back around. Suddenly that 30 seconds to a minute feels like a lifetime. And I know that sounds so sad, but it's just also showing how the attention span has changed.
I think that's fair though. I think that's fair because like obviously again we haven't had much to do over the past year, so I think it was the perfect time for it to end up spiking in popularity.
Mm-hmm.
Because like yeah, you have to sit through like a 30-second video without being able to skip into it, but also like you have the time to be able to do that. I think it was the perfect time for it to be able to spike in relevancy.
Yeah, properly. I think it kind of saved that sort of thing. I mean, you had that and the boom of obviously the Switch came up in a hype sort of thing as well as Animal Crossing came out.
Yeah, perfect timing.
Yeah, they properly got that. They couldn't have done that better.
Yeah, that got delayed as well back in like December, and they were like, "Oh, we're gonna delay it to like April," and everyone's like, "No, we want to play it now. We want to play it now." And then it came to lockdown, and everyone's like, "Oh no, that was actually the perfect time for it to come out." Because I think it was like a month into, I think it was like the end of April, and it was like, I know it's all I played for a month solid. Yeah. Like I would go on it every day at the exact same time and just, oh, I loved it.
I sat there waiting because it's before Boris had called lockdown. I was waiting because I was like, do not shut the game stores. I've got it on pre-order. Don't shut it. Don't do it. I need it. This is the only way I'm going to get through lockdown. Because at this point, I was not a TikTok person.
Yeah, I mean, I'd only just got into it about like I think 2 or 3 weeks before, and it was I spiraled down into it, and I'm like, oh, I can't get out now. I'm in. Once you're in, you can't get out.
You're stuck.
Charlie, was there anything during lockdown like for you like that, like Animal Crossing or TikTok or anything?
I mean, well, there wasn't really anything new. I know pretty much throughout the entirety of the first lockdown, I was waiting for Cyberpunk.
Oh yeah.
Got delayed, and then delayed again, and then delayed a fourth time, and it was like, oh no.
I mean,
to be fair, it did come out during a lockdown, at least.
That is true. Not the first lockdown.
No, the second one. It was obviously a thing of like, oh yeah, everywhere's shut down and we need to stay in the house. But it also was kind of a thing of like, we weren't, as students, I feel particularly, we weren't very well informed.
Mhm.
Like, I think our university did do quite a good job of saying, like, yeah, we're going to do lessons online. We're going to try and avoid in-person contact and stuff like that. But I think from especially from like the government videos they would put out, students kind of got put on like the back burner to be like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
we
you
were
had to
completely
search
forgot about that.
online to find out everything,
Mhm.
and it was just it just made it difficult.
What a fun time.
So fun. Yeah, exactly. I don't think our university's actually done bad. To be fair, I think they've actually done for like for what they've been given, and like it has been a bit of a bad hand they've been dealt over the past year. Like obviously it's
Oh, yeah.
a very bad hand.
Mhm.
Honestly, I think they've actually done pretty good with what they've been given. Like you can clearly tell that they're trying the best. And
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are certain aspects that they've done very well with what they've been given. I think there are certainly aspects that could be very much improved, which we're working on and that sort of thing. And I think that there needs to be quite a lot of improvement in that sort of realm. But that's the thing as well, as we have to remember is like, is always that part that you have to remember that they didn't know this pandemic originally. Obviously, in first lockdown, it was quite difficult, but it was also that they had no idea that this pandemic was coming either, and they didn't know we were going into a national lockdown and that sort of thing. And compared the first lockdown to now, it's miles better to what the communication is between
absolutely.
lecturer to student. And you got to like, what's the word? You got to like be happy about the fact that in some ways that yes, there could be improvements and everything, but like you said, compared to some of the things that have gone on, we're lucky for some senses.
As we said, lockdown can affect quite a lot of student life. But I guess just going to like university life as a whole, like what has been your like opinions on like if you could go back to Beth at age like 17 applying for uni, like between then and now, like was the uni experience like what you thought it would be, I guess?
Honestly, no. It really actually quite wasn't the experience. It's been a completely different thing because when I was younger, from the years of like year 7 to year 11, I went to a boarding school.
Oh, right.
So I was there all the time, three weeks at a time, came home for a day and a half, went back for 3 weeks. So my whole life was centered at this school. So I kind of framed my opinion of what uni will be like to that, because it was away from home. I wasn't with my parents. I lived away. I was always with friends. That's how I based it. And obviously you can't compare things like that. So it wasn't my part. But I think from second year onwards, bar the pandemic, of course, in terms of like my housemates and my friendship group and things, from that point, it was definitely what I expected from uni, because I was living with such lovely people and I had such a lovely friendship group that I was with. In first year, I didn't have a very good flat. It was pretty much the worst nightmare scenario. But I think that, I don't know, I think that everyone kind of has to go into uni with quite an open mind, because if you come in with such a cement sort of idea going, it's going to be like this, you're pretty much setting yourself up for almost not failure per se, but it's not going to be that necessarily. For some, it may, but I think that it could be absolutely incredible as long as you surround yourself with the right people. Because in the end, as long as you're happy, it will be brilliant, won't it? Realistically,
yeah, definitely.
If you enjoy going on nights out every night, brilliant, off you go. If you enjoy sitting in your room reading a book, fantastic. Just it's a different vibe at uni. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but
No, I completely agree. Yeah. it's definitely like I think first year of university is kind of more what I imagined when I was younger. Like, like the whole like being in halls and then going out every night. And obviously, being able to not go out every night kind of played a big part in that.
Yeah.
But it was more that thing of like, I don't think I ever imagined just like, for example, I live in a house with 2 of my mates now. And compared to first year where I was in a like a flat with 4 other people I'd never met before, it was very much a thing of like, that's kind of what I imagined when I was younger, being like, oh, you know, you go to like your halls, you go to your uni and you have some nights out. Whereas now it's like, oh, I'm gonna wake up, I'm gonna make some beans on toast, I'm gonna be happy about that. And then I might go out for a bit. I feel like as uni evolved, or like as we joined it in the second year, I felt like there was a lot more freedom.
Yeah.
In the sense of, when I always pictured uni, I always pictured like, oh, you know, occasionally you go into uni to do your stuff, when your uni stuff, and then the rest of the time you're free. And in first year, it was kind of like, well, most of the time you are doing your work in first year, because whereas with second year, it's very much obviously this is the one you get graded on, but you have more, you're more flexible with it. If you want to just go out and do stuff and make stuff, you can go and do that.
Yeah, you kind of learnt your work pattern, you know, how to do the assignments, you know, what the uni looks for and things like that. You've kind of, you've settled more, so you understand more of the way of university, so you're more relaxed and it's nicer. Because I'll agree with you definitely with first year. It's like moving in, you don't know anyone. I think the reason it was different in like my experience is because I expected to move in and kind of be best friends with everyone in my flat.
Yeah.
And you got along with everyone. You were like the Friends cast. You were literally spending every waking second together. You're having a great time. But in reality, it's like you meet one person in that flat and you can get along. You may not get along with any of them. I was lucky enough to find one person in my flat that we got along so well and everything like that. But I think that's what I expected uni to be, that you'd move in and they would be your best friends for life. And it's not quite that picture perfect sort of movement. What was your sort of experience in first year, Charlie? Because all I can remember when meeting you in first year is you were covered in tattoos and it looked like you had gangrene on your leg.
Charlie, apply the context.
Okay, so I got a tattoo on my leg, and I don't know what happened, but it got a little bit infected and started turning green, and the skin peeled off, and you can just see all the flesh underneath.
Ooh.
Which was all green underneath.
Yeah, it was. I mean, to be fair, now doesn't look too bad.
Oh, that's good to hear.
So, you know, so apart from that, I was quite lucky with my flatmates, because we all got along instantly. Yeah, because we all kind of went in there thinking, right, you know, none of us really lived away from home. You know, we're all about similar age. We just kind of assumed, you know, if one of us is going to come and have a bad day, we're not going to poke and prod. We're not going to be horrible to each other. We'll just get them through the first year. And then after that, if we're still friends, brilliant. If not, well, you know.
I think that's always a good mentality to go in with. Is like, I've got these people for a year. I've never met them before, and I might never see them again after first year. However, if something good comes from that, then I've got a friend for life. Like, I think that's a good way of looking at it. Is like, you've been given a sample of people. It's like, here's some potential friends.
You don't want to go in and just start and automatically think, oh, I'm not going to make friends with any of them, or oh, we're going to be the greatest friends ever. We're going to be excited. But, yeah, a bit like the Friends cast. You don't want to, because obviously you don't want to be a bit like them, but you want to be able to get along with them. That's not like, if you want to walk into the kitchen and someone's making food, you don't want to feel like you got to walk out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You got to be comfortable around them.
Yeah, you just want to keep it like mutual, no pressure on like, if we get along, we get along. If we don't, we don't. Just keep it mutual, and we only have to do this for a year. There you go. Like, if it blossoms, should we say, then brilliant. But you've always got like your course mates. I think that's the bit that you forget about, is you've got your course mates to make friends with as well.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not just the 3 or 4 people that you've got to live with.
Mm-hmm.
You've also got hundreds of other people.
Literally. You've got everyone on the course. Anyone you meet on a night out, you've got.
Friends for life.
They really are, aren't they?
Shout out to that girl that I gave a pair of sunglasses one night. I don't know who it is, but you've got a pair of my sunglasses. Yeah, I think it
Yeah.
is though. Like on a nightclub, like sometimes you just meet someone there on a night out, and you'll never know who they are again. But then as soon as you see them again, you're like instantly, it's like, it's
You
you.
know.
I know you.
No.
I think that's
Yeah.
the typical first year experience.
It
Is
really,
just
the first year freshers, everyone is third years and second years are looking out for the first years. You all stick together, and you can make some really decent friends in the nightclub. I'm not gonna. I know you guys don't know. However, to include this, it's purely because it's not about the location. Obviously, that's quite grim. However, it's the people that are in there that you can walk in, and you'll say something, and you'll either have an absolute backup hype group of girls that are supporting every single decision you make. You get compliments beyond belief from every girl. Everyone is just on your team. It's basically a giant hype group, and it's so great. And I know that every girl will agree with me on that one.
I think Charlie might be able to agree with me here. Is there is an equivalent like that for guys? There is actually an equivalent of this on a night out, and it is after the nightclub, right? In the takeaway.
Oh,
you will just see guys just hugging each other and complimenting each other constantly. I think that is the perfect balance.
If you go to McDonald's after a night out and you're a guy and just sit with a random group of people, they're not going to look at you weird. They're going to talk to you like they've known you for years.
Absolutely. I think most of the I'd say like probably like 60% of the best moments I've had on nights out are just in that hour afterwards. That perfect hour of just wandering around, just talking to people at like 4 to 5 a.m. It's brilliant. I miss nightclubs, man. Like that is the one. Like I don't miss nightclubs for the drinking or the dancing or anything. It's just that thing of being able to just walk up to someone and be like, "We're friends." Like it doesn't matter what's going on outside. In here, there is happiness. Just
Nah, the one thing I miss about going out are the videos afterwards.
Oh yes.
Some of the videos that exist.
Some of the the photos as well. There's a couple of photos of me from nights out in first and second year that are quite iconic in our uni. I mean, it is a pivotal part of like university life, isn't it? It's like you think about going to lectures, doing your coursework, nightclub, like student nights it's a part of student life, you know?
It really is.
You can't avoid it. No matter how much you want to, you can't avoid it.
Exactly, yeah. Like the nights where you go out to a nightclub, especially if it's like a themed night, they are the best nights.
That's the thing. It's like I've got friends in uni and in York St John, that sort of thing. So I used to go to both of them. And themed nights are the ones that make you bond with people because you're all dressed like Muppets, and you're just like, yeah, this is what it is, you know?
Okay, I guess obviously quite a big thing to talk about, Beth, is you are obviously our student rep.
I am indeed.
That is quite a big thing. So just for anyone that obviously, you know, might not fully understand, like what is like the basic like responsibilities of like being a student rep?
So I basically am the voice between the students and the lecturers. So it's more of a path of communication to make sure that the students are being heard and that we're being treated fairly, basically. So if there's any problems on the course or any problems students are facing, they're able to come to me and speak to me about them. But there is also another course rep called Chantel. She mainly covers the geography side. But we basically have the students come to us, express their opinions, emotion, that sort of thing, and problems and things. Or sometimes their praise towards lecturers if they wanted to do it that way. And we can voice that through to the lecturers, basically, to make sure that it's all running smoothly for the course and we can get the best university experience possible.
But, you know, do you want to maybe just tell us, like, obviously some of the things in as much detail as obviously you're allowed to give? I know you can't give names or anything like that. But, you know, just tell us the kind of things that you've done as course rep for us so we can fully appreciate it.
So it kind of began, I mean, I kind of wanted to become course rep because over the last over the 3 years of being here, in our first 2 years, those two course reps that were first year and second year, it kind of got carried over. I felt like we weren't really getting heard and it wasn't really being taken advantage of. So that was the first step that I wanted to make sure that everyone was voiced. So I started off by, when I first got the position, I started off by just emailing people, making sure that everyone is either content with how the lecturers are handling things, how the university is handling things. Obviously, with the lockdown happening, I made sure it was of my top priority to fight for the safety net, which we got in place.
Yeah, thank you.
That was, obviously, I know I fought for it, but that was mass thank you to our presidential team at York St John. That was definitely of their big fight as well, that we managed to get that put in place. Throughout as well, students have definitely had struggles, so I managed to get some extensions put in for all of our projects, just to make it more doable by the students. Basically, it was so hard, and I don't think that was being heard by the lecturers, because obviously they weren't necessarily concentrated. The thing is that if it's not being said, so they don't know that we're struggling. And once I had students coming to me saying that they weren't able to either multitask on projects and they were struggling and falling behind and they just weren't being listened to, it was, again, another priority of mine to make sure that these all got pushed back and to give students time to breathe and actually take care of their mental health. Because to be honest, to me, as much as we're here for the degree and it's important to complete it, students' mental health is ridiculously important to care for. And
yeah, it's a top priority in a sense.
Exactly. So I think that alongside doing these, bringing in supports and making sure that I made sure that the lecturers are communicating a bit more, and it's something that we're still working on, that lecturers are actually speaking to students and seeing how they're doing to make sure they're doing okay. The motivation is there to actually do the work, and I think that so far it seems to have all gone swimmingly well. We have succeeded in obviously getting the extensions, getting the safety net. Students seem really happy. I know we had a few complications with dissertation and things like that, but we've pretty much, as soon as these things get raised, I'm straight into the main lecturers and things, and I'm like, right, we're setting a meeting. What can we do? And I think that having that,
become their boss.
yeah, basically, they probably don't like me, but it's because suddenly it went from 2 years of hearing absolutely nothing to, oh, great, she's here.
I'm gonna make some changes around here.
Yeah, that was my main thing. I just sat there and when I was like, I can't sit around anymore. I really can't. So we're going to take this on myself. But yeah, as far as I can see, students are happy. And I think having that, actually seeing the changes being put in place, gives other students on the course the confidence to come forward and speak to me, or to the lecturers, in fact, and go, look, I'm having a problem, or I'd really like to thank you for reaching out and helping me. And that's the only thing that I can, that's my main goal as being student rep, is making sure that everyone was okay and we were getting the university experience that we all hoped for, really.
You really are a martyr.
No, generally, what you have done for the course especially is like, it has really helped. Like I know there's a couple of deadlines that I would not have got done. So thank you for that.
I would have failed last year and this year without that. So
yeah. It was very kind of you both. You're very welcome, and I'm glad I was able to help.
So I suppose a good question would be, is there anyone that you view as like quite a big inspiration for everything that you do?
I think that's quite a tricky question, to be honest. I haven't really. I mean, obviously you have idols as you grow up and that sort of thing. I mean, they tend to be celebrities and things. I probably wouldn't say currently. I don't really have anyone that's necessarily a full inspiration for me. It's more small things that people do. So I know it sounds weird, it may sound cliche, but it's like random acts of kindness or small little things that I know that a person has really struggled with, say their mental health, and have managed to do something. Maybe it's small to other people, but I know it's big for them. I find that quite inspirational, because I don't know, if I know the challenge that that person has gone through to succeed in that small change, or gone through and like helped someone, I don't know, I just find that sort of thing quite inspiring, and it just makes, it kind of radiates happiness and that sort of thing, because it just makes you smile. And I find that those sorts of things, I couldn't necessarily pinpoint a specific person that has inspired me, but it's those sorts of small acts that I feel proud of others for doing so, and that inspires me to be better.
Oh, absolutely. I think especially over the past year, I think I've definitely noticed a lot more people that I know just pulling together and just acting kind for the sake of being kind.
Yeah.
And it's so inspirational just to see, like, even if it's just something like so simple as just being like sending a message being like, "Hey, you all right? Haven't heard from you in a while." Like, that's enough. Like, that's just a little thing to be like, I'm checking in. I'm just are we cool? You good? You good?
Exactly.
Like, that's enough. I think that is really inspirational. But yeah.
Because the person that sent that message to, they could be going through a really hard time, and just hearing that could make them feel so much better.
Yeah.
See, to them, it's just them checking up, and
it's just what they needed. It could just could make their day. It might.
Exactly.
It's just like, it's tiny things that may mean nothing to someone else, but mean the world to someone else. It's that whole one man's junk is another man's treasure sort of mentality, sort of thing. I feel like the ambulance really made that fit.
No, I think it's fine. Yeah, I think no, I completely agree. Yeah. My inspiration when I was a kid was Gandalf, but you know.
Really?
No, I've never watched Lord of the Rings.
Oh.
What?
Yeah, I've watched most of them. I've never sat down and watched Lord of the Rings.
Okay, wait.
This is where Charlie's like, I need to get a different co-host.
I'm gonna get you guys back on track so future Charlie doesn't yeet himself off a cliff here.
Hey, Charlie.
So future Charlie, this is being cut.
Charlie.
However, so what were your guys' sort of like? Have you guys got like an inspiration now? Who did you kind of idolize and that sort of thing? Like,
Go on, Andrew. You go first.
I'm thinking. It's that sounds really bad, because it makes it sound like there isn't. I don't have any. I do have inspirations, but I think it is more like you have to take your time to think about it, because like there's so many people that actually come to head, because obviously initially you might think of someone, like as you said, like thinking about celebrities is like, that's like the obvious route to go. It's like, you know, like obviously like a huge inspiration of mine is like, you know, like Edgar Wright. You know, I'm a writer. It's obvious I'd have something like that, but also like I'd say, like, without going into names, one of my biggest inspirations the past couple of like months has been one of my friends who's been going through a lot of they've been doing a lot of stuff to do with gender dysmorphia and stuff like that.
okay.
And I think that was very much like a thing of like seeing them over the past couple of months. They've very much been like, oh well, I've managed to like overcome this, and now I'm helping other people get over that. I'm like, that's good on them. Yeah,
that's really good.
Big up out there.
You know who they are.
You know who you are. Pointing finger guns.
So Charlie, who's your inspiration?
Well, if we're talking about like just like, okay, it's just about like everyday people. Alright. I'm putting this out there. It's gonna sound really sickeningly sweet, so I'm gonna hate saying it, but probably my sister.
Oh.
Because obviously, you know, I know her. But also we've gone through like a lot of the we've gone through like a lot of the same things, and you know, she's always been bullied, and you know, we've had like family issues, you know, but both from our own points of view, and somehow like she's always just been able just to keep going. Like she's never sat there and thought, oh, I'm gonna quit uni or I'm gonna quit my job. And she was like, no, I'm going to keep doing it because, well, one, to prove people wrong, and two, because she likes to do it.
Good on her. if you want to learn more about me, feel free to reach out on any of my social media platforms, which I'm assuming Andrew's going to link below.
Yep, we will have all the social medias down below.
Perfect.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so if you have any other sort of burning questions, or you feel like you need to reach out to me as course rep, please feel free to.
No worries. It's been wonderful to have you on. I think it's been very insightful. And Charlie, do you have anything you wanna say?
Yeah, just to say again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for everything you've done. And it's actually been really fun talking to you.
It's been very fun. Thank you again for having me. It's actually been a great laugh.
That's what we like to hear. That's what we like to hear.
Yeah.
And if that's everything, thank you all for watching the first episode of the Motiv8tion Project Podcast. I've been Andrew, that's been Charlie, and that's been Beth Salt. Thank you for coming, and we'll see you next time.